Hello everyone, this is Dr. Khurram, your IGCSE's and A-Levels biology instructor. And for today's class, we will look on towards some of the past paper questions from the bacterial and the fungal cell. If I were to recall some of the prior concepts you remember is that when we try to classify the living organisms, so we have got total of five kingdoms. That is kingdom Animalia, then we have kingdom Plantae, then there comes the fungus, then there comes the Protoctist, and then at the end we have the kingdom Bacteria or the Prokaryotes kingdom. And we would just try to see that how come the past paper questions have appeared from the bacterial and the fungal cell. So beginning with this question number one that we have got for the year May June 2016. This was question number 2A and the variant of your paper was 4.1. And they say is that this figure 2.1 is an electron micrograph showing the bacteria, the genus is Vibrio and the species is Chloride. Now, if you were to clearly see that these bacteria, they have got these finger-like projection kind of a thing, or there is an elongation getting out of these bacterial cells, and we refer to them as the flagellum, we say. Now, here they ask us for the A first part that the bacteria are the prokaryotes, and by the prokaryotes simply we mean the bacteria. They ask for 2 marks as that state two distinguishing features of all the prokaryotes. Now, what you need to be keeping it in your mind is that the bacteria they have the cell wall, then they have got their cell membrane, then they would have their circular DNA that is not enclosed by the nucleus. These bacteria they have got small ribosomes in them, and some of the bacteria, not all the bacteria have plasmids in them. So this would mean that the features that apply to all the prokaryotes of the bacteria are the presence of the cell wall, the presence of the cell membrane, no nucleus bound circular DNA, and these small ribosomes. So any of the points you could write it over here. So as I have written that all of the prokaryotes they would have no true nucleus or no nuclear membrane would be present in them, but rather it would be absent. And any of the bacteria does not have any of the membrane-bound organelles. Like if we talk about the eukaryotes, their mitochondria and the chloroplasts, they are membrane-bound or double membrane organelles, but these bacteria have not got them. Among the other alternative points, if you forget any of these two, so you would say that the presence of 70s ribosomes and the presence of the plasmids could be the alternative point that you could write in place of these two. For 1 mark, they ask is that the bacteria which they have shown you in figure 2.1, they have the flagellum. As I have highlighted it earlier, that this was their flagellum. And you see that this flagellum, it would provide the bacteria an ability to be moving or to be swimming. So since they have asked you to be suggesting the function of the flagellum in bacteria, so the answer is this with us. Moving onward to the next question, this came in October November 2017. The variant was 4.3, and this was question number 5, A part for your exam. They say the kingdom fungi, it contains great diversity of the organisms and it includes yeast. There are molds in it and there are mushrooms in it. Now we have got a total of five kingdoms. We have animals, we have plants, we have fungus, we have protoctist, and then we have the fifth kingdom of the bacteria that we also call them as the prokaryotes. They say like plants, the fungi, they also have the nuclei and the mitochondria in them. So we know it very well that the plants they have the nucleus, they have the mitochondria. So same are there in the fungi with us. They are asking for 2 marks as that state the function of mitochondria. Now you know the teachers may have told you that these mitochondria they are double membrane organelles and their role is doing aerobic respiration where they would be releasing the energy and that energy would be released by the process of aerobic respiration. So when you would say that these mitochondria they release energy, here you will get 1 mark, and by the process of aerobic respiration you will score 2 marks here. Further, they ask for the second part is that state two characteristics of the fungi that are used to distinguish them from the plants. Now, for the plants, what we know is that they have got their cell wall, they have got their cell membrane, then they have got this large permanent vacuole, then they have the nucleus, then they also have got a distinct organelle in them that allows them to photosynthesize, and this would be their chloroplasts. Now you know that the plants are autotrophs because they make their own food with the help of their chloroplasts. And the funguses, they don't have the chloroplasts in them, so you would say that the fungi are heterotrophs. And for the plants, you see that we have got this large permanent vacuole in them. So these fungi, they would have no central vacuole in them. Among the alternative valid point, the third point that you could keep it for your knowledge is that the plant cell wall is made up of the cellulose and the fungi cell wall is made up of the chitin. So as an alternative point, you could say that the funguses, they have a different composition of their cell wall. Now, moving onward, they say that there is this baker's yeast. The genus is Saccharomyces and the species is Cerevisiae. And they say this is a single-celled organism that is classified into the kingdom fungi. They say figure 1.1 is a drawing of a section that they have given you for the yeast cell. So if I were to identify the structures, so here comes the cell wall, here we have the cell membrane. The C is not the large permanent vacuole, but rather than for fungi, we refer to this as the sap vacuole. The H structure that we are given here, so they are the ribosomes. The G that they have shown you here, this is the nucleus. The F that they have shown you, so this is rough endoplasmic reticulum. If I talk about E, so this is mitochondria. And if we bother to think about D, so this is actually going to the cytoplasm of the cell. Now, for 1 mark, they are asking us that you are required to state one other kingdom that contains organisms that all have the structure A. So, if we just look on toward the structure A, we know this is there in the plants, and this cell wall is also there with the bacteria or the prokaryotes. So, either you can write plants here or you can write prokaryotes here. Now, moving onward, they have given you the table, and over there they show you some cell functions. And they want us to be completing table 1.1, where we are required to be writing the cell structures. And we have to give our examiner the letter from figure 1.1. And they say is that the storage of genes, and we know the genes, they are stored within the nucleus, and the letter used is G with us. They say aerobic respiration, so we know this is accomplished by the mitochondria. And the letter that you are required to be writing is E with us. And when they say amino acid, they are assembled to make protein, so they are the ribosomes. And the letter which we have to use is H with us. So I hope you may have got an idea of that how come the questions they can appear from the bacterial cells and from the fungal cells.